Welcome to the Making of Me podcast, where we explore the stories, experience, and challenges that actually shape us into who we have become today. Today, we are joined by Amy Vince, Pat's EFT Tapping coach, business advocates, and founder of Soar With Tapping app. Ms. Johnings is one of transformation, resilience, and discovering how emotional healing can unlock lasting freedom. It's really a pleasure having you on the show, Amy.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. So, Amy, what were some of the challenges or experience that shape you into who you have become today?
Oh gosh, so many. I mean, it really is just a lifetime of one
Yeah.
experience after another. But some of the bigger ones are, and the one that really got me on the path of health and wellness in a significant way was being diagnosed with cancer at the age of 31 with no history of breast cancer in my family. It came as a complete shock. And after going through many surgeries and chemotherapy, I just got to the point where I started to ask myself why I got it,
Yeah.
and not like a shake my fist at God kind of way, but really from a place of genuine curiosity. What is it that made my experience different from any other woman my age? And I really just started to go down that path because I was a healthy person. I was eating the right things and I was exercising, and that and all just look at it as a whole, that shouldn't have happened to me. So at that point, that started my journey. And I was a massage therapist and I got certified in nutrition and colon hydrotherapy. But then I also started going down the road of just trying to understand my emotions and how they
Yeah.
played a role in it. And so that was when I got introduced to tapping, and I immediately recognized it as a tool that had a lot of potential for me personally. And I haven't looked back since. Once I tried it,
Yeah.
that obviously became my tool of choice. And while I supplement with other things, that's still the main one that I use today.
Yeah. Amazing. I'm just wondering how you that feel like being that in your early age you have cancer, how to deal with it. But I'm glad that even up to today, of you have used to actually more like have a purpose out and discover a whole lot of things along out the road. Yeah, it's amazing, amazing. So for listener who have never tried EFT tapping, how does tapping actually work on emotional, physical, physiological level?
So, tapping is a really great combination of three different modalities. It incorporates energy therapy, which it can be found in acupuncture. So
Mm,
it's like using the 14 energy meridians found in traditional Chinese acupuncture, but instead of using needles on the acupressure points to facilitate healing, we use the percussion of tapping on the
mm,
acupressure points in order to get our energy flowing again, because when our energy is flowing, that's when we are in a state of healing or in a state of health. So that is kind of the main aspect of it. But it also incorporates a cognitive therapy aspect, which is like traditional talk therapy. So while you are tapping on those acupressure points,
yeah,
you are actively talking about what it is you want to release. Actively kind of feeling the emotions and the fears that we tend to suppress down under normal circumstances. We tend to run in the other direction
yeah,
anytime we feel any kind of uncomfortable emotion or fear. But using tapping, we are actually kind of turning and facing the thing that is scaring us or making us feel uncomfortable. And once we allow ourselves to feel it and talk about it, studies have shown that it only takes 90 seconds of feeling an emotion for it to start to dissipate and go away. So that aspect incorporated into the energy therapy aspect makes it incredibly powerful. But then we add in one more thing, which is the somatic therapy aspect. And somatic therapy is all about getting your energy and your focus grounded in the present moment in your body. So
yeah,
normally we spend a tremendous amount of time worrying about the past, whatever happened in the past, and hopefully not repeating it in the future. But then we also catastrophize about the future and all the things that could go wrong. And it's only when we're tapping on our body, and that physical act of tapping on our body can't help but kind of focus our energy in this present moment, where the likelihood is that there is no immediate threat. There is nothing Like as I'm sitting in this chair, everything is actually fine. And
Yeah.
so it's just continually reminding our brain that everything is actually fine in this present moment. There is no need to worry. There is nothing that is threatening you or and making you feel unsafe.
Yeah.
So all three of those things combined make a really, really powerful tool. But what's happening on a physiological level is that, when we get stressed, our subconscious mind is like constantly scanning the horizon, looking for threats, anything that could make us feel unsafe or feel like, we're being put at risk in some way, shape, or form. So when it identifies something that we should be scared of, what it does is it triggers the amygdala, which is the stress center in our
Yeah.
brain. It triggers that. It rushes our body with cortisol. We're in full fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mode. And we can hardly function in those moments. And 99% of the time, we don't even know what has triggered us.
Yeah.
It's just our subconscious mind going off the rails and we don't even know what happened. So the act of tapping on our acupressure points, what it's doing over and over again is telling that guard dog in the amygdala, it's telling that part of our brain, de-escalate. De-escalate, de-escalate. It is okay to stand down in this moment. There is no immediate threat. And when it does that, it is removing cortisol from our system 43% faster than if you had done nothing else. It is also lowering our heart rate, lowering our blood pressure, and increasing our immune system response. So there are many things that are happening just by the simple act of talking about what we're feeling and tapping on our acupressure points.
Yeah.
It seems unlikely that it would be that powerful, but it really is. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, I think you just addressed what was my misconception. I was like, it seems not much is going on. Definitely there's
Right.
something going on, and I think it really speaks volumes. So what is one common emotional pattern you see in people who struggle with anxiety, trauma, and chronic stress?
So, anxiety in particular is a really blanket term, I think, for a lot of emotions that people don't know how to deal with. So, it's kind of an umbrella term that arises when we don't feel safe. Again, that subconscious mind has identified something that we should feel scared about, but we don't know what it has identified and we don't know why it feels scary to us. So the act of tapping on our energy meridians and our acupressure points is helpful in that it allows us to shut down that amygdala, and then the electrical signals can then get to the prefrontal cortex again, where we can make logical sound decisions, and we can start to maybe get curious and figure out what actually activated us, what triggered us to being scared, what triggered us to feeling overwhelmed, and created a physiological response in our body as a result. So we have to get to the point where we can kind of remove the emotional part of it and get to the logical sound part of our brain again. And tapping allows us to get there. But we need to discover what is creating the anxiety. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be life experiences, likely from when you were a kid, and maybe some kind of trauma. Maybe you were neglected as a kid. Maybe you had an angry parent that made you walk on eggshells all the time. It doesn't really matter what created the survival strategy within you, but what matters is going back and metabolizing the emotions that never got acknowledged or honored when you were little,
Yeah.
and created a way of being and showing up in the world that creates a lot of anxiety for yourself.
Amazing.
So while it was a survival strategy back when you were a kid, now it's not serving you so well. And we need to go back and heal that part of you that was traumatized so that you can let go of it as a strategy anymore.
Yeah, amazing. And I think it just speaks volume when you make reference of trauma hides a whole lot of things on beneath it's being that yes, it might be a general term for a whole lot of stuff going on, but there's a
Mhm.
whole lot of different symptoms that's actually speak volumes beneath what we can actually get to see on the facial level. And I think it's really amazing being that you're able to differentiate it. So what was the biggest personal transformation you experienced using tapping on yourself?
There have been so many. I would have to say go through a couple because one of them is physical. I used to have extreme lower back pain. I would throw my back out several times a year, and it was so painful that I would have to crawl on the floor to get to the bathroom because I just really struggled so much. So I started using tapping for that probably about 7 or 8 years ago. When I threw my back out again, I could feel that it was really weak, and I started working on the root cause of it, just like their trauma is the root cause of things like anxiety or depression or overwhelm.
Yeah.
The root cause of something like lower back pain for me was feeling really vulnerable and scared about money issues. And
Yeah.
so I tapped on that and I connected it to the pain in my lower back. And I probably tapped for maybe an hour and a half. And I haven't had back pain since then. That was
Oh,
7 years ago. And there's been literally zero, nothing, not even a little twinge, which for me in my adult life, it was totally unheard of. So that has been totally remarkable. And then I would also have to say that it was about the same time 7 years ago when I was just really struggling in my life in a lot of different areas. I felt like I was a horrible mother. I felt like I was going to get fired from my job. I was having anxiety attacks every day. And I started using tapping at that time on my traumas. And within a period of about, I would say, a week and a half to 2 weeks, I was
yeah.
tapping every day for about a half an hour a day as I was walking on the treadmill. And within that time, I totally transformed my whole way of looking at the world. And it
Amazing.
was just because I was able to focus on and understand the root cause of my issues all of the sudden. And I focused the tapping on that instead of focusing the tapping on the symptoms I was experiencing. And it was amazing. I've never experienced transformation like that in my life. And that was obviously the point when I decided that this is my mission and my purpose in life is to bring this tool to the world so that everybody has the opportunity to experience something like that.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. And thank you so much with what you do now. Those particular
Mhm.
moments shape you, and it felt that you actually champion a course on it now to create more awareness and to be actually more like be a cutting edge. Yeah, and being a solution to it. Yes, it's amazing, and I'm glad with the work you do. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So, why do you say people who are curious about tapping, but still, what will you say to people who are curious about tapping, but still feel skeptical?
Well, I like to point to all the data. There's
Yeah.
all over 300 peer review studies that have been done that show how efficient and how effective this tool is. There was a study done with wartime veterans that were struggling with PTSD. And in a very short period of time, I believe it was even just a couple of weeks of doing tapping on a regular basis, they were able to reduce their clinical symptoms for PTSD enough that they were no longer qualified as being called um, uh, or having a diagnosis of
Yeah.
PTSD. So it was less than 30 days. I think it was only like a 2 week study or something like that. And within 2 weeks, these people that had, really struggled with depression and being able to sleep at night and, having triggering events in their life were able to reduce their symptoms so much that they could no longer qualify as having PTSD, which is
Yeah.
such a remarkable study. And so much so that there's like a free program now for veterans to receive tap coaching and doing tapping so they can heal and they don't have to continue to struggle with all of these
Yeah.
symptoms. So there's so much data out there that shows how effective it is. In fact, I'll go over some of the numbers from a recent study. Well, let's see. People reported that anxiety decreased by 40%. This is over a 4-day period.
Yeah.
4-day period. Their anxiety decreased by 40%. Depression decreased by 35%. PTSD symptoms decreased by 43%. Pain, physical pain, decreased by 57%. Cravings decreased by 74% for anybody that struggles with addiction.
Yeah.
That's a huge number. And happiness increased by 31%. I mean, you can't argue with those numbers, right?
Yeah.
So my suggestion to people who are skeptical is it's not going to hurt. Just try it. Give it a shot. There is everything to be gained and nothing to lose. And you can go out and find free access to tapping videos on YouTube all over the place. And if you download my app, you can get a 14-day free trial. There's absolutely nothing to lose in going down this road. And you just might find a tool that can help you through some of the hardest times in your
Yeah.
life and even lead to a complete transformation if that's what you're seeking. So I just encourage everybody to give it a try and try it on anything. There's
Yeah.
nothing I would not try tapping on.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you for the whole lot of insight on the statistics about or how things got different after using it. Yeah, it's really amazing and fascinating.
Yeah.
So lastly, what does true emotional freedom look like for you today?
When I first started tapping, my goal was to get rid of all of the parts of myself that I didn't like.
Yeah.
All of my shadows that I was embarrassed and I didn't want people to see. I just figured I'd be able to take them out and then, put them over there and keep them out of sight and out of mind. And the interesting thing that I've discovered along this journey is that all that did was make me walk around like a very fractured and person that looked like Swiss cheese.
Yeah.
With just big holes in myself and not a complete person. And when I started doing tapping, what it allowed me to do was have compassion and empathy for those parts of myself that I really rejected all of the time. And it allowed me to bring them back into my heart with a lot of compassion and make myself whole again. So getting to at least more than halfway through my emotional journey, I am much more grounded, much more just free. I feel free from worrying about what people's perception of me is. I feel free from worrying about or being in a place of fear all the time, thank goodness. And I just want that for everybody.
Yeah.
I really do. That it feels like I'm just comfortable in my skin now in a way that I never even knew was possible. And I feel like everybody should have that opportunity to experience that.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think it's really lovely, especially when you just make reference to, being free without having a sense of what people's perception is of you. And just seeing the big changes, I think it just speaks volumes to the productivity and the work. They're actually more like the fact that tapping actually work, and it's you are the evidence, and it just really speaks a whole lot of volumes. And thank you so much for what you do. So Amy, for my audience who want to reach out to you, who want to connect with you, and who likely want to do business with you, how can they reach out to you, and where's the best platform?
If you're interested in individual sessions, you can always email me, amy@soarwithtapping.com. That's SOARWITHTAPPING.com. And if you want to download the app, you can go to the Google or Apple Play stores and search for Soar with Tapping. You'll find it that way.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Amy. Thank you. Just remind us that healing is not just about hiding plan, but about transforming it into strength, clarity, and freedom. If you want to learn more about Amy's work and access her tapping resources, check the link. The link is going to be on the show notes. This has been the Making of Me podcast, where we explore stories that shape purpose and experience that creates meaning. Once again, a pleasure and honor have you on the show, Amy.
Thank you.